We built something with Datado, Slack, and Claude that some agencies, who shall not be named, charge thousands of dollars a month for, and we're giving it away for free. I want to walk you through exactly how it works, what it actually checks before it recommends anything, and why we built it to never make a change on its own. Here's what happened. We gave one of our clients a Slack channel with read-only access to their entire Amazon account. No dashboards, no new logins. You just ask it questions in plain English. Then we started poking around with a few clients to see what was actually useful with this thing, not what sounded impressive. In a pitch, what people actually kept coming back to use. Some of what we tried didn't stick. A general Q&A layer is interesting for about a week, and then people stop using it. Stop asking unless there's a reason to open up Slack in the first place. The first thing that actually stuck, that kept brands coming back on their own, was a pricing agent. Why not full automation? Here's the part worth being direct about. Most AI pricing tools on the market just change things for you. A black box that adjusts prices automatically based on rules you can't fully see and reports back after the fact. We've looked at plenty of these. The problem isn't they don't work. It's when something goes wrong, you don't know why, because the logic that made the call isn't visible to you. You just see the results. We built this the opposite way. White box, not black box. It doesn't touch your price. It has conversations with you in the DMs, because that's where the real decision making happens anyway. Not in a dashboard nobody opens. Not in a report nobody reads until the numbers actually look bad. A conversation with reasoning you can actually see and push back on. The 5 inputs explained. Here's what it's actually checking before it says anything. 5 things every time. Price. Where are you right now and where have you been? Not just today's number. The account's own price history on that exact ASIN. Inventory position. Because a pricing call that makes sense with 6 weeks of stock out on hand is a different call entirely if you're 3 weeks from stock out. You don't want to be discounting your way into running out early, and you don't want to be holding a price steady while inventory piles up either. Unit velocity, how fast that SKU is actually moving right now, not in a stale average from last quarter. Seasonality, whether the current moment is a normal week or a predictable seasonal swing that could make a velocity change misleading if you read it at face value. And CTR and CVR, click-through and conversion rate, because a price change can affect how many of those clicks convert differently, and conflating the two leads to the wrong decision on what actually happened. Every recommendation comes out of all 5 of these together, not price in isolation. What one test actually means, it doesn't come back with 5 things to change at once. It recommends one test, a single specific move on a single SKU with a stated reason, not something like a modest price adjustment on one ASIN, framed as a test with a clear before state, not a blanket instruction to raise prices where you can. That's deliberate. A pricing call that changes 10 SKUs at once makes it almost impossible to tell which change actually caused which result a week later. One test at a time means the feedback loop actually means something. The 7-day feedback loop. 7 days later, it comes back, checks how the test actually went. Did velocity hold? Did it drop? Did margin move the way reasoning predicted? And then it makes the next call based on what actually happened, not what was predicted. That's the whole loop. No black box optimization running in the background between check-ins. No set it and forget it logic quietly making changes you would have to dig through a changelog to find. Just a second opinion sitting in your Slack, watching the numbers nobody has time to watch every single day, and coming back with a specific reason next step instead of a full dashboard of metrics you're supposed to interpret yourself. Here's what we actually believe, and it's the reason we built this instead of another automation tool. Making changes on Amazon is about to become trivial. Anyone will be able to automate a bid, a price, a listing audit. That part of the job is getting commoditized fast, and it won't be a differentiator for much longer. The advantage won't be who can act the fastest. It'll be who can decide well consistently a week after. A few good pricing calls a week made consistently is the difference between a flat year and a great one. Not one brilliant call that saves a quarter, a steady pattern of decent calls that compound. That's why we don't run any of this off a one blanket rule. A price move that makes sense on a high margin, slow moving SKU is a different call than the same move on a thin margin, fast mover. The reasoning has to be specific to that product's actual economics, not a universal formula applied everywhere. Structure and judgment, product by product, beats a rule that technically works on an average, but is wrong for half of your catalog. What this doesn't do, to be clear about the limits, this doesn't change your price. It doesn't touch your listing. It doesn't exclude anything without a person reading the recommendation and deciding to act on it. It's the second opinion, not the hand at the wheel. You're still the one making the call every single time. Who is this for? This works best if you got enough price and sales history for the reasoning to actually mean something. Real velocity data, not brand new launch with 3 weeks of sales. And it's most useful if pricing decisions currently happen on gut feeling or get made rarely because nobody has time to watch this closely every week. We're opening this up to anyone who wants to try it on their own account. No catch. We just want to see what it does across more brands. That's you. Book a call below, and we'll look at whether your account has history for this to work the same way.